bad, me sick, me Reggaeville.
Meet the Marleys and Co., musical scammers ripping off popular artists. People are like music. Some speak the truth, and others are just noise. There's a new wave of Marleys emerging on the music scene. But don't get too excited, because none of them have anything to do with the legendary family. They're all just using the name to try and get clicks. But the surge of artistic catfishing points to larger issues in the music streaming business. The team at Reggaeville spend a lot of their time keeping up to date on new releases. We search the streaming sites just to make sure we don't miss anything. But recently, we've started to notice some rather unusual artists appearing. And they're not what they seem. We should warn you at this point that none of what we've discovered can be considered good or bad music. It's all just trash. Nevertheless, we have compiled a link list at the end of this article, so listen at your own risk. The first example is people using a famous artist's name to try and gain clicks. Because the most remarkable, not in the good sense, example is an artist called Love. This curious individual has a real talent for making the most painful musical concoctions possibly ever known to humanity. They're little more than bad chopping and scratching. Take the album release Ganjaya, released 14th of March 2021. Love has blessed the world with 13 variations of the title track, if you can call it that, because it's little more than just some tuneless, incoherent rambling with a heavy dose of reverb thrown in. But how does the Marley name come into Ganjaya? Well, Skip Marley is listed as a feature artist on all the tracks. If you can find Skip Marley in variations on Ganjaya, then all power to you, because we couldn't hear anything, except the caterwauling, obviously. Spotify has removed the release in the meantime, but Apple Music and YouTube don't appear to have spotted this dubious album yet. Moreover, Love is not the only artist to do this. For example, meet Son Diesel. Again, he appears to be real. Much like Love, however, he credits artists on some of his tracks when they don't actually feature. Apparently, Diesel has worked with Protégé on 46 songs in 2020 and 2021. The most recent release is from May 28th. And then he takes things one step further. The track Wine Up supposedly features Protégé. It doesn't, obviously, but it actually uses a sample of the Shenseea and Boom Boom smash Wine. It's even more than a sample. The entire hook is on loop for the whole song. He's done the same with the track Ya 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 Ya, ripping off Adonia's Yeah Yeah. Then we have a verified Spotify artist called Lost in Translation. They've credited Wayne Wonder on the track NLG. Jar Cure apparently features on another track, Take Me Back. But once again, we can't hear either artist's contributions. But crediting an artist to generate hits is not the only method these musical monstrosities use. Another example of this skullduggery is when someone literally rips off an artist in their entirety. Well, why not just take the artist's name and be done with it? Meet Bob Marley Jr. Of course, no relation to the real Marley family whatsoever. He appears to be a guy from South Africa who was around since some years earlier under several aliases. David Jason Mann, Joseph Skillsman, David Skillsman, or Tufril Tekgon Marley. Not that streaming sites have noticed this fake artist. Bob Marley Jr. has his own topic and channel on YouTube. He also has his own verified Spotify page, which even includes an entire album of Marley work. And it's paid off. Bob Marley Jr. has had over 20,000 streams on Spotify. One track called Shall has had over 12,800 listens. The song is a rip-off of Jehovah, Jar Shall Reign, by UK legends Twinkle Brothers with Jar Shaka. Yet clearly Spotify's algorithms haven't spotted this. To be fair, the algorithms did spot some of Bob Marley Jr.'s other tracks that weren't his, because several of them have been removed. One that stands out is Koku, dub version. It was actually written by well-known producer Tekka, but Bob Marley Jr. credited the label and composer as Tough Gong Records / Bob Marley Music, respectively. Finally, there's also a relation of Bob's we apparently didn't know about. Meet Kayla Marley, a young female vocalist who's released an attractive cover of the Skip Marley and Her hit, Slow Down. It also features the talents of another up-and-coming artist called Sylvia Skip. No, really, Sylvia Skip? Except, of course, neither Kayla nor Sylvia exist. A YouTuber called Nez actually did the vocals. Solid works, Nez. Unfortunately, someone else has ripped off your pleasing cover version, seemingly hoping to gain clicks. Now, we could go on, and on, and on. The examples of this kind of musical catfishing are numerous. For example, take the country singer calling himself James W. He released a whole album in 2018, and 6 of the songs allegedly featured reggae veteran Jimmy Cliff. Of course, they didn't, but James W. even went as far as releasing some of them as singles under the name of another artist, this time one Teresa Dykes. Most recently, April 16, 2021, Jimmy Cliff was featured on 2 songs released by Diversify, Away From You and MS. Guess what? Of course, Jimmy Cliff does not appear in these songs. But why does any of this matter? Firstly, because all these cases expose the faults in modern streaming services. Reputable distribution companies are putting their names to what is essentially trash, like UnitedMasters distributing Love's album and Son Diesel's tracks. Sites like YouTube's algorithms aren't even questioning this. And we found all these artists on streaming sites. Secondly, we found most of these fake artists by searching for the real ones. So it means streaming sites are muddling the genuine content with the trash stuff. In an age where sites like Spotify already routinely pay genuine artists somewhat unfairly, having their work watered down even further is not okay. Finally, the story poses bigger questions about the music industry more broadly. Gone are the days when the only way to ensure a hit record was via a label. Now, everyone can share their music with the world, and people you've never heard of can suddenly become stars overnight. But this presents challenges of its own. With the marketplace now saturated with artists, people desperate to get their music noticed, and therefore earn money, will try anything to achieve their goals. They'll even go to the extent of feeding off one of the greatest names in music history to do so. Sadly, it's endemic of the 21st century attention economy, where fame and talent are disposable, yet everyone wants these things. If the joy of true artistry is to continue to thrive, then streaming services need to up their game, because the musical catfishing is becoming a major problem. So, in the words of Diversify allegedly featuring Jimmy Cliff, it's indeed a mess, and a massive one at that. Luckily, except if you're the scamming artists, the streams we are able to identify on Spotify and YouTube are not big in numbers. Reggaeville hopes that the artists' labels and their management pay close attention and ultimately take action.